When you use the word remember, you are doing something far more powerful than just bringing up a past event. You are creating an emotional bridge that ties you and the other person together in a way that feels deeply personal. Human beings crave recognition. They crave to know that the little things they shared or did with someone else mattered enough to be noticed and stored away. When you say remember, you are not just recalling a fact, you are telling them that their presence, their words, their actions had an impact strong enough that it stayed with you. That is one of the greatest compliments anyone can ever receive, because what it really communicates is that they are not forgettable, that their time and energy did not just pass through you like background noise, it lingered. This is why such a simple word has the ability to draw someone's thoughts back to you long after the conversation ends. Think about the way we respond when someone says, "Remember that time we went out and laughed until it hurt," or "Remember when you helped me through that rough situation." Immediately, the other person is not just hearing your words, they are re-experiencing the moment. Their brain pulls up the details, the emotions, the sensory cues from that time, and in that instant, you are both back there together. You create shared mental space, and it is hard not to feel close to someone who can bring you back to a moment that mattered. Memory is sticky, and it clings harder when it is tied to emotion. So by using remember, you are inviting them into a replay that strengthens their sense of connection with you. It works in subtle ways too. Even when the memory you bring up is small, like remember how good that coffee was, or remember what you said that made me laugh, it still lands with weight. Because what you are really saying is, I noticed, I valued, and I cared enough to hold on. People live in a world where they constantly feel overlooked, and being remembered is like water to a thirsty plant. It refreshes their sense of worth. It makes them feel significant, and significance is one of the deepest psychological needs we all have. When you give someone that through the word remember, they cannot help but associate you with a sense of being important, and that association lingers far longer than you might expect. The reason this matters is because most conversations people have are surface level, transactional, and forgettable. They are about tasks, schedules, or passing comments that carry no emotional weight. But when you interrupt that pattern with a moment of remember, you change the rhythm. You create contrast. You remind someone that your relationship is not just about the surface level, but about the deeper story between you. That interruption alone makes you stand out in their mind because it is rare and unexpected, and the brain always holds on to the rare and unexpected far more tightly than the ordinary. Another reason remember works so powerfully is because it reinforces identity. When you remind someone of what they did, how they acted, or what role they played in your memory, you are subtly shaping how they see themselves. If you say, "Remember how encouraging you were," or "Remember the way you led everyone with confidence," you are not only recalling the past, you are telling them who they are in your eyes. People build their self-image from reflections they get from others, and when you become a positive mirror, they crave more of that reflection. The more they crave it, the more they think about you as the person who sees the best in them. This creates a loop. You remember them, which makes them feel valued. Feeling valued makes them think of you, and thinking of you makes them want to interact again so they can feel that way once more. It is a cycle of positive association built on nothing more than a single word used with intention. And because so few people consciously create this kind of loop, it makes your interactions stand out in sharp relief against the background of all their other connections. You are no longer just another face or another voice in their week. You are the one who remembers, and by remembering, you make yourself unforgettable. So the word remember is not just a casual throwaway, it is a key that unlocks memory, emotion, connection, identity, and value all at once. It is like dropping an anchor into their mind so that even after the conversation drifts away, you remain tied to them in thought. And the more you use it with sincerity, the stronger that anchor becomes, keeping you at the forefront of their awareness without forcing or pushing, simply by reminding them of what already exists between you. When you use the word imagine, you invite someone into a space that does not yet exist, but instantly becomes alive in their mind the moment you speak it. Our brains are wired to respond to visualization. And when you say imagine, you are handing the other person a paintbrush and opening up a blank canvas where the two of you can begin creating a picture together. Unlike remember, which pulls someone into the past, imagine pushes them forward into a future that includes you. And that combination of creativity and anticipation is powerful because it makes you feel less like a moment in time and more like a possibility they cannot help but think about. When you say, imagine if we took that trip together, or imagine what it would be like if we started something new, you are not just suggesting an idea, you are planting a seed of vision. Vision has gravity. It pulls the mind toward it again and again, and people naturally hold on to those who inspire them to dream bigger or differently than they would on their own. The simple word imagine transforms you from just another person in their present reality into someone who lives in the landscape of their future thoughts. And that is where true attachment begins to grow. It also works because it creates engagement. The second you ask someone to imagine, they cannot stay passive. Their brain automatically starts building images, sounds, and feelings. You might not even realize it, but by using that word, you have handed them an active role in the conversation. They begin filling in the details, shaping the scenario, and in doing so, they are tying themselves closer to you because now it is not just your vision, it is theirs too. When two people create a picture together, no matter how small, it strengthens the bond between them because they share ownership of that vision. The word imagine also bypasses resistance. If you tell someone directly what the future should look like, they may push back, they may argue, or they may feel pressured. But if you say imagine, you are not demanding, you are inviting. An invitation is harder to reject because it is soft, open, and free of obligation. It makes the other person feel safe to explore the thought without committing to it, and that safety is what allows them to dream without fear. Over time, those dreams become familiar and comfortable, and because you were the one who opened the door to them, your presence stays tied to the positive emotions that come with them. Think about how often people replay scenarios in their heads. They imagine conversations, outcomes, adventures, and possibilities, and those imagined stories can be just as impactful as memories. By giving them an imagine that includes you, you have entered their inner world where they spend the majority of their time thinking. Even when you are not around, the scenario you planted can return to them at quiet moments, in daydreams, or even before they sleep. That repetition makes your presence stick like glue because every time they revisit the vision, you are right there in it with them. It is also a way of showing hope. Imagine is a forward-looking word. It communicates that there is more ahead, that there is potential and growth waiting beyond the moment you are in. People are drawn to those who make them feel hopeful about tomorrow because hope is fuel. It energizes, it excites, it lifts people out of the heaviness of routine or stress. When you are the one introducing that hope through a single word, you become more than just a person they know. You become a source of possibility, and that is a role people rarely forget. So when you use imagine with intention, you are not just adding a filler word, you are building bridges into someone's future, giving them a picture they cannot unsee, creating a safe and hopeful space that includes you, and ensuring that even when they are lost in thought, they will return to that picture again and again with you at the center of it. When you use the word because you are doing something most people forget to do, you are giving meaning to your words, and meaning is what makes them memorable. Anyone can say thank you or I appreciate you, But when you add because you go one step further, you show the reason behind the feeling, and that reason is what sticks in someone's heart and mind. Our brains are wired to search for explanations, to connect cause with effect, and when you provide that link, you make your words feel intentional instead of automatic. That shift turns a casual comment into something that feels significant, and significance is what makes people replay your voice long after the conversation has ended. Think about the difference between saying, I'm grateful for you, and saying, I'm grateful for you because you always notice the small details no one else does. The first statement feels nice, but it can pass by quickly. The second sinks in deeper because it highlights something specific and personal. When you use because you give the other person a clear window into your perspective, they see not only that you value them, but exactly why you value them. And that is what creates a lasting impression. People hold on to reasons more tightly than they hold on to compliments because reasons feel like proof. It also works because it builds trust. When you explain yourself with because, you are pulling back the curtain and showing the thought process behind your words. That level of openness is rare, and rare things get remembered. Without because, your statement can feel surface level, but with it, you are saying, I'm not just tossing words at you, I am grounding them in truth. That truth gives the other person confidence in what you say, and the more confidence they feel, the more weight your words carry. Words with weight echo longer in someone's mind, and that echo is what keeps you present to them, even when you are absent. The word because also personalizes the exchange. A simple, I like that can be vague, but I like that because it shows your creativity makes it unique to the person you are speaking to. That personalization makes them feel singled out in the best way, and it tells them that what they do is not just noticed, but deeply appreciated. People crave to be recognized as individuals, not just as part of the background noise, and because is the tool that allows you to shine a spotlight on what makes them special. That spotlight stays with them because it changes how they see themselves in that moment, and they will link that positive shift back to you. Another reason this word is so powerful is because it creates clarity. So often communication fails because it lacks context. People do not understand the why behind a message, and so it gets lost or forgotten. When you add because you eliminate confusion, you fill in the missing piece that allows the other person to fully understand your intention. That clarity is comforting, and comfort has a way of tying people closer together. They begin to associate you with honesty, transparency, and understanding, which are qualities that make someone unforgettable in the mind of another. It also deepens emotional impact. Saying you inspire me is nice, but saying you inspire me because you never give up even when things are hard hits on an emotional level that cannot be ignored. That level of detail paints a picture in their mind, and pictures are harder to forget than words. The more specific your because, the stronger the picture, and the stronger the picture, the more likely it is to replay again and again whenever they think about you. This is how you move from being a passing voice to becoming a lasting memory. So every time you use because with sincerity, you are giving someone not just words, but reasons, not just compliments, but proof, not just appreciation, but identity. You are transforming simple statements into anchors that tie you to the other person's thoughts. And every time they replay that reason in their mind, they replay you with it. These three words work because they are simple enough to say naturally, yet powerful enough to shift how someone feels in the moment and how they remember you long after. Remember makes someone feel seen because it tells them that the time they gave, the moment you shared, or the detail they offered was worth holding on to. Imagine makes someone feel hopeful because it shows them a picture that includes possibility, adventure, or growth with you in it. And people cling to those who make them look forward to tomorrow, because makes someone feel understood, because it gives depth to your words. It shows that what you say is not just empty air, but rooted in a reason that proves thought and sincerity. Seen, hopeful, understood, three feelings every human being longs for, three feelings that, when delivered together, create a lasting emotional imprint. The reason they matter so much is because most people go through their lives without experiencing these feelings consistently. They feel overlooked in their work, disconnected in their relationships, and dismissed in their conversations, and that leaves them starving for connection they rarely receive. So when you can step into that gap and offer something so simple yet so rare, you instantly stand out. You do not need to compete for attention when you provide what others are silently craving, because the brain naturally returns to the sources of its strongest emotions. Those sources become magnets, and the pull is not forced. It is automatic, because people cannot stop thinking about what gave them that feeling in the first place. Think about the last time you truly felt seen, hopeful, and understood. Chances are you remember not just the moment, but the person who gave it to you. That is the power you carry when you use these words intentionally. It is not manipulation, it is awareness. It is understanding that words are not just sounds. They are tools that shape how people feel, and therefore how they remember. The world is filled with noise, but very little of it leaves an echo. These three words leave echoes because they hit at the root of what people desire most. And when you hit the root, the memory grows deep. It is important to realize that these words are not magic because of the syllables themselves. They are magic because of the emotions they unlock. Remember is not just about recalling, it is about recognition. Imagine is not just about daydreaming, it is about future building. Because is not just about explanation, it is about validation. Each word connects to a core human need, and when those needs are met, they become unforgettable experiences. People may not consciously dissect why they keep replaying a moment with you, but subconsciously their mind knows it was because in that moment they felt something rare and real. Another reason they work together so effectively is because they cover different dimensions of time. Remember anchors you in the past, imagine propels you into the future, and because grounds you in the present. That means you are not just tied to one aspect of their life, you are woven through all of it. You become part of their memories, part of their dreams, and part of their everyday reality. That full spectrum presence makes it nearly impossible not to think about you, because no matter where their thoughts wander, you have already placed yourself in the picture. The beauty of this is that it requires no overcomplication. No long speeches, no forced charm. All it requires is choosing words that align with what people already want most in their hearts. You do not need to impress someone with perfection when you can connect with them through presence. Presence means showing you saw them. Presence means showing you dream with them. Presence means showing you value them. Those three signals are enough to make someone replay a conversation with you over and over because it felt different than all the rest. So when you understand that remember makes them feel seen, imagine makes them feel hopeful, and because makes them feel understood, you start to realize why the combination is so powerful and why those who hear it cannot help but circle back to you in their thoughts. Because the mind never lets go of the people who made it feel what it was craving most. You do not need long, complicated speeches to create an impact that lasts. What you need are small, deliberate keys that open the right doors in someone's mind, and those doors stay open far longer than you think. When you say, remember, you are reminding someone that their actions and presence were valuable. And when you say, imagine, you are giving them a vision that includes you. And when you say because, you are proving that what you say has weight behind it. Each of these is simple enough that anyone could use them, yet powerful enough that very few people actually do, and that is why they stand out. The people who are remembered are not the ones who talk the most, but the ones who speak with precision, the ones who know how to drop a word that lingers and leaves an echo. The truth is, most people never slow down long enough to think about the way their words land. They repeat the same compliments, the same questions, the same casual remarks, and then they wonder why they are forgotten. But when you use words like these with intention, you create a different experience. It is not about being louder or more dramatic. It is about being meaningful. Meaningful words stay because they resonate, and resonance is what causes the mind to replay moments like songs stuck in your head. Once you know how to do that, you no longer have to chase someone's attention because their thoughts naturally drift back to you without effort. What makes this work even more is that you are not forcing anything unnatural. You are simply taking everyday interactions and elevating them. You are taking a thank you and turning it into something memorable with a because. You are taking a casual conversation and making it intimate with a remember. You are taking a simple idea and making it hopeful with an imagine. That kind of elevation transforms normal exchanges into defining ones, the kind that people don't just forget about when the moment passes, but keep with them when they're lying awake at night or daydreaming during the day. It is subtle, but subtlety is often what carries the deepest weight because it feels effortless. Another layer to this is that using these words consistently shapes how you are perceived. Over time, people begin to associate you with depth, with thoughtfulness, with care. They start to see you as someone who notices, someone who values, someone who envisions. That reputation grows silently in their minds until it becomes automatic, and soon you are not just someone they had a conversation with, you are the person who always makes them feel like they matter. People rarely forget those who consistently add value to their emotional lives, and the more you build that consistency, the stronger the association becomes. It also means you do not need to overthink connection. You do not have to script entire speeches or come up with the perfect lines. All you need are these simple keys because they unlock something deeper than fancy words ever could. They unlock feelings, and feelings are what people return to, not phrases, not outlines, but emotions. People think about the ones who made them feel alive, the ones who made them feel worthy, the ones who made them feel hopeful. That is the real secret behind these words. They are less about vocabulary and more about the emotions they trigger, emotions that replay endlessly in the human mind. Think about how many conversations in your life have faded into nothing. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands, all gone without a trace. But then think about the few that stuck, the few that you can still recall with clarity. They are not the ones filled with the most talking. They are the ones filled with the most feeling. That is what these words do. They turn forgettable moments into unforgettable feelings. And feelings are the true anchors of memory. Once you are tied to someone's strongest feelings, you are tied to their thoughts too. And that is how you become someone they cannot stop thinking about. So when you use, remember to show them you noticed. Imagine to show them you dream. And because to show them you mean it, you are giving them reasons to carry you with them in their thoughts. You are planting seeds that grow long after you walk away. And you are proving that sometimes the smallest words, used with sincerity, can make the biggest impact on someone's heart and mind.